I'm Nadia Sharma, 42 years old, and for 12 years, I've carried the sharp sting of a betrayal that dismantled my medical dreams and forced me to rebuild from the prescription pad. It was the autumn of 2013, a crisp May evening in Melbourne, the air tinged with the scent of eucalyptus from the Royal Botanic Gardens and the distant hum of trams along St. Kilda Road, when I faced my former director, Dr. Anil Patel, in the sterile consultation room of Melbourne Health Clinic, a mid-sized practice in the CBD. The room, with its crisp white walls, cluttered desk of patient files, and a faint antiseptic smell, had been my healing haven during the relentless 14-hour shifts that defined my early career, a place where the rustle of charts and the beep of monitors had fueled my passion. But that night it turned into a battleground where my ambitions were undermined under the harsh glow of fluorescent lights. I was 30 then, a skilled general practitioner with a talent for integrative medicine, my holistic treatment plan, combining acupuncture with conventional care, winning a community health award, and catching the eye of hospital recruiters, my approach earning nods of respect among the overworked staff who saw me as the clinic's future. I joined Melbourne Health Clinic in 2011 after completing my residency at Monash University, bringing a fresh perspective to a practice bogged down by outdated methods, paper records, resistance to alternative therapies, a turnover rate nearing 22%, my name a quiet hope among nurses who believed I could transform patient care. But that evening, as I presented a detailed proposal for a wellness center featuring mental health services, a partnership with local naturopaths, and a pilot program I designed to secure a $300,000 government health grant and elevate the clinic's reputation, Dr. Patel's demeanor shifted from colleague to adversary, his posture stiffening as he adjusted his stethoscope. "You'll never run this clinic. Nadia, stick to filing," he barked, his voice cutting through the hum of the air purifier, his eyes narrowing with a mix of envy and authority as he tapped my proposal with a pen. He confessed, with a cold smile that made my stomach drop, that he'd stolen my plan, submitting it under his name to the grant committee just days before my presentation, securing the funding and a feature in the Age that lauded his innovative leadership. To bury me, he orchestrated my demotion with fabricated accusations, inaccurate diagnoses based on altered patient notes, unprofessional conduct from a staged disagreement over a prescription backed by a loyal receptionist he'd pressured, and a conveniently timed server glitch that lost my digital records, which I'd stored in a secure folder that appeared corrupted after an IT update. The clinic board, swayed by Dr. Patel's 15-year tenure, his connections to a pharmaceutical donor who'd funded the clinic's expansion, and my lack of allies, my records gone, leaving me defenseless, upheld his decision in 2014, reassigning me to administrative tasks, my reputation tarnished across Melbourne's medical community as unreliable and overzealous, a stigma that clung to me like antiseptic on skin. My partner, Ravi, a gentle engineer with a love for sketching cityscapes and a quiet strength, supported me, but our savings dwindled under mortgage payments in Fitzroy, our dream of a riverside home with a garden fading into the cramped reality of a flat with cracked tiles, a sagging sofa, and a noisy fan that whirred through the nights. Those words, "never run this clinic, stick to filing," became a relentless echo, a bitter refrain that haunted every form I filed, every chart I updated, every moment I stood alone in the records room, the sound mingling with the hum of printers and the shuffle of patients. I can still feel the weight of those early months after the demotion, sitting on that sagging sofa in our Fitzroy flat, the Yarra River visible through the window, a reminder of my lost potential. As I flipped through medical journals and job listings in the Australian, the ink smudging my fingers with each turn of the page, my eyes burning with exhaustion after sleepless nights replaying Dr. Patel's betrayal. The flat, with its hand-me-down furniture, a wobbly table Ravi had salvaged from a skip, a chair with a torn seat he'd patched with duct tape, and a single window overlooking a laneway where cyclists sped, felt a world apart from the bustling clinic I'd envisioned, its air heavy with the lingering scent of disinfectant and paper I'd brought home on my coat, a reminder of the life I'd lost. Ravi took on extra design contracts, blueprints for small firms in Richmond, site surveys in South Bank. His evenings spent drafting under a flickering desk lamp, the scent of graphite and coffee a testament to his sacrifice, while I pieced together a fragile existence with locum shifts at rural clinics in Geelong, telehealth consultations in Ballarat, and weekend shifts at a pharmacy in Collingwood, each diagnosis a fight to reclaim my practice, every dollar a step toward survival in a city where housing costs soared and medical dreams felt out of reach. Our son, Ariv, born in 2015 after years of hoping, grew up surrounded by stethoscopes turned into toys, medical texts stacked beside his crib, his childish questions a tender ache. "Why don't you fix people anymore, Mummy?" he'd ask, his small hands tracing the edges of my award plaque. I'd smile through the tightness in my chest, spinning tales of new healing adventures to help the world. But the truth gnawed at me. Dr. Patel had blacklisted me, his narrative of my instability spreading to hospitals and practices, his influence a barrier to my career, leaving me relegated to the sidelines of a profession I'd once led. Dr. Patel's career flourished in the years that followed. By 2018, he'd expanded Melbourne Health Clinic into a regional network, his name etched on awards from the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners, his wealth evident in a Bayside mansion in Brighton, a holiday apartment in Torquay, and a leased Audi for his rounds. He hosted lavish health symposiums at the Melbourne Convention Centre, his wife Priya dazzling in saris at charity events for medical research, his daughter Anika rising as a junior doctor with a degree from the University of Melbourne, while I rebuilt quietly, starting a small telehealth service by 2016 from our living room. My consultations grew, patients in Bendigo, families in Dandenong, who valued my integrative approach, my reputation a quiet undercurrent in Melbourne's health scene, passed along at wellness fairs and community clinics. But the wound deepened with every milestone of Dr. Patel's success, his smug talks at the AMA conference, Priya's Instagram posts from the Great Ocean Road, Anika's residency at a top hospital, each a fresh bruise. My parents, both gone by 2021, had believed his lies, their final years dimmed by his version of events, their calls filled with concern over my struggles. Ariv, now a 10-year-old fascinated by science kits, wrestled with confusion, his early interests shadowed by Dr. Patel's influence, his questions about my work strained by his admiration for the man. Ravi's unwavering support, his hand-drawn blueprints, his late-night discussions over cups of chai, his repairs of our noisy fan, kept me anchored, his love a steady pulse in the storm. The turning point came 3 years ago, in 2022, when the first cracks in Dr. Patel's polished facade appeared. His network faced lawsuits over misdiagnosis, patients posted viral complaints on X about neglected care, and a whistleblower exposed falsified treatment records in a The Age expose. At 39, with my back aching from years of hunching over charts, I began my discreet investigation, contacting old nurses over tea at cafes in Carlton. I'd meet them in the early mornings, my notebook a shield, listening to their tales of Dr. Patel's decline. Overworked staff, cut corners, a culture of fear, over plates of scones, and Earl Grey. Last month, on July 20th, 2025, I sat with Priya, a different Priya, a former nurse, at a cafe in Fitzroy, the hum of traffic a faint backdrop. Her trembling hands pass me a USB drive. He's unraveling. Stolen plans, fake records, pressure on us to hide errors. She whispered, her voice thick with regret. "That wellness center was yours, Nadia." My pulse raced. This was the evidence I'd waited for. On August 10th, 2025, I contacted Sanjay, a journalist with The Guardian Australia who'd uncovered health scandals with a sharp pen, meeting him at his cluttered office in South Bank. We poured over the USB, photos of my 2013 proposal sketch, detailed logs of Dr. Patel's theft, emails hinting at bribed auditors. This could dismantle him, Sanjay said, his eyes narrowing. But we need the perfect moment. On August 22nd, 2025, I dug deeper, turning our Fitzroy flat into a detective's lair. Amid medical texts and chart rolls, I accessed public records online, my fingers stiff but resolute. At 10 a.m., I found it, a 2023 audit report buried in the Victorian Health Department archives, tied to my plan, now linked to a malpractice scandal that cost the network $350,000 in fines. My hands shook as I printed it, the past merging with the present in a surge of clarity. That evening at 6:06 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on September 1st, 2025, I sat by my window, the Melbourne skyline a soft glow, plotting my next move. The Australian Medical Association Awards were on September 20th, a glittering event to mask Dr. Patel's decline. I'd attend, not as the filer, but as his reckoning. What he didn't know was I'd transformed my pain into a prescription for justice, compounded by 12 years of resilience. The 4 weeks leading to the awards were a precise diagnosis of strategy and concealment, my days running the telehealth service, a facade for the revenge pulsing in my veins. By August 25th, 2025, our Fitzroy flat, its walls lined with medical journals faded by sunlight, its table cluttered with chart drafts stained with ink, its air tinged with the scent of antiseptic and mint, transformed into a war room where every scribbled note and stethoscope check fueled my resolve. Sanjay and I met nightly, his laptop open on my wobbly table as we dissected the USB and audit reports, the soft hum of the fan a rhythm to our planning. My 2013 Wellness Center plan, with its mental health focus and integrative care, had won Dr. Patel his grant, its success a foundation of his rise, while my naturopath collaborations, herbal therapies I'd proposed, had been misused, leading to the 2023 scandal. Priya's data revealed a pattern: stolen proposals from 2014, falsified records in 2020, a cover-up of a 2022 overdose hushed with auditor bribes, a fragile network teetering on collapse. I contacted Dr. Mehta, a retired physician who'd clashed with Dr. Patel over a 2017 ethics dispute, his steady voice joining us via a crackling Zoom call from his home in Bendigo. This could revoke his license, hit him during his speech, he advised, his tone laced with old grudges. I nodded, my plan a treatment crafted from 12 years of suppressed rage, each step a memory of lost patience, stolen credit, shattered trust. The awards, set for 7 p.m. on September 20th, 2025 at the Crown Palladium, would be Dr. Patel's platform, a gathering of doctors, administrators, media, and philanthropists, all drawn by the promise of prestige under the venue's glittering chandeliers. I'd pose as a retired doctor, my white coat swapped for a modest dress with a hidden pocket, my movements slow with a cane to mask my intent, my dark hair in a neat bun a symbol of my enduring dedication. My task was to deliver the evidence to Sanjay, who'd signaled Dr. Mehta's medical board contacts at 8 p.m., timed with Dr. Patel's acceptance speech, ensuring maximum exposure. I secured an invitation through Arav, now a 10-year-old who'd impressed a judge's son at a school science fair. His email on August 28th, a laminated pass I clutched like a scalpel, his note reading, "You're the best, doctor, Mummy." He suspected nothing, his curiosity a tool I'd wield with care. Preparation was a rigorous regimen, a blend of physical endurance and emotional steel. I practiced my shuffle daily along the Yarra Trail, perfecting a weary gait and a warm, unassuming smile that hid my burning resolve, my cane tapping a rhythm of patience against the path. I rehearsed lines, just here to honor medical innovation, though each word carried the weight of Dr. Patel's betrayal, Ravi's steadfast love, and Arif's silent wonder at my past. Physically, I reviewed charts and conducted mock consultations daily, my back protesting, but each diagnosis strengthened my will to stand tall that night. I revisited old mementos, proposal sketches from 2013, a faded photo with Ravi at a health expo, a stethoscope Arav decorated, a rejected grant proposal, each a spark in my fire. One night, I found a corrupted file from the server glitch, its data lost, and wept, the lost plan fueling my fury. I tracked Arv's life, his science projects, his friendship with a classmate named Ella, hoping this act would secure his future free from Dr. Patel's shadow. On September 17th, Dr. Patel called, his tone smooth with false warmth. "Nadia, the awards are a milestone. Bring Arv, let's move forward," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. I agreed, hiding my scheme. He didn't suspect I'd coordinated with Sanjay, who'd lined up Dr. Mehta's contacts, or that I'd commissioned a dress with a hidden pocket, its fabric a shield of my past honor. The dress arrived on September 19th, sewn by a local seamstress from Collingwood, Mrs. Singh, who chatted about her cooking, unaware of my mission. I tested the pocket, sliding the USB, and awed inside. There weighed a promise of justice. At 6:30 p.m. on September 20th, I arrived, the Crown Palladium buzzing with the clink of glasses and the murmur of excited doctors, the Yarra glinting through the windows. Dr. Patel spotted me near the entrance, smirking. "Nadia, still filing?" "Charming," he quipped. I nodded, my cane steady, my pocket ready. At 7:45 p.m., he began his speech, launching into a tale of his medical legacy and unveiling a new wellness program echoing mine. I scanned the scene, Arif clapping awkwardly, Ella beside him, media filming, Priya sipping champagne with a smug grin, Anika adjusting her father's notes. At 7:58 p.m., as Dr. Patel praised his vision, I edged toward Sanjay, my pulse a drumbeat. I slipped him the USB and audit, whispering, "Now." He nodded, texting Dr. Mehta. At 8:02 p.m., board members stormed in, badges glinting under the chandelier light, shouting, "Investigation underway." Dr. Patel's notes scattered, his face paling as they seized his tablet. The awards ceremony descended into a whirlwind of pandemonium, attendees scattering like startled galas fleeing the Crown Palladium's opulent hall, media cameras swiveling to capture every frame of the unfolding drama, Dr. Patel's protests drowned by the authoritative commands of board members that reverberated off the gilded walls, the chandeliers casting fractured light across the scene. Arif stood stunned near a canopy table, Ella's hand on his arm offering silent support, his eyes wide with shock as the reality hit, while doctors murmured in clusters, their professional world shaken by the scandal. I stood tall, my dress a badge of my hard-earned resolve forged over 12 years, my cane a symbol of strength that had carried me through the toughest shifts, my heart pounding with a mix of 12 years of vindication and the bittersweet ache of a family nearly lost to Dr. Patel's deceit that had cast a long shadow. Board members swarmed the stage, their dark suits a stark contrast to the venue's elegant decor of velvet drapes and polished marble, cuffing Dr. Patel as he roared, "This is a setup. Nadia, you'll pay." His voice cracking with the desperation of a man watching his medical empire collapse. They read charges, plagiarism that stripped his awards, falsified records that undermined his reputation, malpractice risks that endangered lives, each word a hammer blow to his legacy, the list growing with a $450,000 fine for unaccounted grants that funded his mansion, their voices steady as they recited the litany. Sanjay approached, his voice a lifeline amid the din of shouting and camera shutters. "They've got him. Nadia, you've done it. His practice is finished," he said, his eyes alight with the thrill of the exposé. The media frenzy was immediate. Headlines like Patel's medical empire crumbles, and Doctor's 12-year revenge blazed across screens by 10 p.m., my name a murmur of awe in the chaos that swirled through the hall, microphones thrust toward me like syringes seeking a sample. Dr. Patel turned to me, his face flushed with rage that modeled his once authoritative features, sweat beading on his brow like condensation on a thermometer, his tailored suit now rumpled as board members tightened their grip on his arms, his posture slumping under the weight of defeat. "You? After all this time? You petty little filer? You've destroyed my life," he bellowed, his voice breaking with the desperation of a man whose prescription for power was failing, his hands shaking as he pointed at me with a trembling finger. I met his gaze, unflinching despite the tremor in my own hands that betrayed the adrenaline coursing through me, my voice clear and resonant with the strength of 12 years of silent suffering that had sharpened my resolve. You said I'd never run this clinic, Dr. Patel, that I was only fit for filing. I proved you wrong, with evidence that outlasts your lies, with grit that outran your schemes, with every patient I helped while you stole and faltered. This is my payback for me, for Arav whose future you shadowed, for every nurse you crushed, for every cure you sabotaged with your ego. He lunged, his fist raised in a futile gesture of defiance that spoke of his last grasp at control, but board members restrained him with firm hands, dragging him out as Priya sobbed hysterically, her champagne flute slipping to shatter on the floor in a spray of glass, a symbol of her fallen status. Arav rushed to me, his voice breaking through the noise like a lifeline tossed into a stormy sea. "Mummy, I didn't know." "I'm sorry for asking about him," he said, tears streaking his face as he wrapped his arms around me. The first embrace in months that mended a rift I'd feared growing. I hugged him back, the warmth of his body against mine a balm to the wounds of the past, Ella nodding in support with a quiet smile, a bridge to a future reclaimed from the charts of my past. The crowd buzzed with reporters, their microphones thrust toward me like scalpels seeking a cut. But I turned away, my victory a private remedy burning bright within, a cure no scandal could undo. The fallout was swift and unyielding, a diagnosis that dismantled the remnants of Dr. Patel's medical empire. Board members suspended him from Melbourne Health Clinic, seizing offices in the CBD and outreach centers in Footscray, where charts sat abandoned, records from patient files hauled away in boxes, freezing his personal accounts that held the profits of his deceit, halting his symposiums across Australia where he'd once lectured, while inspectors raided his Brighton mansion for evidence of fraud, uncovering a safe with falsified licenses. His network collapsed like a poorly treated wound, his reputation tarnished beyond repair, clinics distancing themselves with press releases, his name a cautionary tale whispered in hospitals from Geelong to Ballarat, a fallen physician replaced by silence. The media dug deeper, uncovering a $150,000 slush fund for bribed auditors that funded his Torquay apartment and Priya's wardrobe, a detail that sent shockwaves through the Australian health sector and prompted a state inquiry, the scandal dominating morning news. Arav reconciled fully, joining me in learning basic first aid for our flat, while Ravi and I planned a riverside getaway to a home we'd finally saved for, the scent of eucalyptus a promise of peace. Priya vanished from gala circuits, her social circle dissolving like a fading pulse, and Anika, Dr. Patel's daughter, distanced herself, seeking a residency under a new mentor to escape the taint. I didn't gloat. My goal was justice, not destruction, a balance I'd learned from years of healing others. But the sight of Dr. Patel's fall brought a profound peace that filled the hollow left by his words, a quiet satisfaction that settled in my soul like a well-dosed treatment. That night, at 6:06 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on September 1st, 2025, I sat with a cup of chai that grew cold on the counter, the news confirming his suspension on a muted TV, a letter from Dr. Patel in hand, its envelope creased from my grip. "Nadia, I was wrong. Help me," it pleaded, his handwriting shaky with the defeat that had finally overtaken him, the ink smudged as if by tears of regret. I didn't reply, the past too raw, my strength too hard-won to soften now, the paper crumpling in my fist as I set it aside to focus on the healing ahead. Months later, his hearing began in a courtroom in Melbourne Magistrates Court, board members and inspectors wielding my evidence with the precision of a surgeon's blade, Priya's testimony a damning narrative of medical corruption, and Dr. Mehta's audit records of final prescription, the gallery filled with former nurses who nodded in silent support, their scrubs traded for suits. I attended the first day, my presence a silent testament to my journey from filer to this moment, seated beside Arav and Ravi, whose hand I held tightly and watched Dr. Patel's defense crumble under the weight of truth. Dozens of former staff stepping forward with tales of pressure and theft, their voices a chorus of validation that echoed through the room. The judge, a stern jurist with a passion for public health and a gavel that rang like a heartbeat, ordered a full investigation, hinting at a potential ban from medicine and fines that loomed like a prognosis, his ruling a vindication of my 12-year wait. Arav and I launched Sharma Wellness, restoring family pride with telehealth services, hiring Priya as a coordinator whose expertise bridged my past and present, while Ravi retired from engineering to teach robotics to kids, his hands finding new purpose in circuits. I visited Melbourne Health Clinic once, its rooms silent with the absence of Dr. Patel's voice, its charts a memory of my youth, a monument to his greed, and my redemption that stood tall in my heart. My revenge, 12 years in the making, was not just justice served with a dose of spite. It was my rebirth, a practice reclaimed from the wreckage of his sabotage, a testament to the resilience I'd always carried within, a remedy that grew stronger with each patient I served.